Tanjiro Kamado never really made a huge impact in the Demon Slayer story, aside from preserving the Hinokami kagura. But what if he didn't die from an illness when Tanjiro was just a child? In today's video, we'll explore what would happen to the Demon Slayer story if Tanjiro's dad was transformed into a demon. The setup for this timeline begins around when Tanjiro's father dies from his illness. Instead of passing away peacefully in his sleep, Tanjiro mysteriously disappears in the forest near their home. The family believes he was attacked by wild animals when he went out into the woods at night and holds a funeral for their father, but the truth is far more sinister. On that fateful night, Tanjiro had ventured into the woods to perform the Hinokami kagura in solitude, hoping the breathing technique would ease his suffering. But someone else was watching from the shadows, someone who had seen Tanjiro perform the dance of the fire god one night and kept tabs on the family for many months since then. Kokushibo, the upper moon one of the 12 Kizuki, approached Tanjiro with a mixture of curiosity and contempt. This frail charcoal burner somehow possessed knowledge of sun-breathing, the very technique his brother Yoriichi had created. Kokushibo could clearly see that Tanjiro was dying, but he couldn't just let the Tsukikuni family's legacy disappear like that. So that night, he attacked Tanjiro and forcibly injected the charcoal burner with the Demon King Muzan's blood to turn him into a demon. The transformation is agonizing and lasts for 2 days straight, but Tanjiro is successfully transformed into a demon, helping him overcome the illness that was eating away at his body. But something extraordinary happens during the process. Unlike other humans who become demons, Tanjiro has no hatred or resentment in his heart, only love for his family and a desperate will to return to them. Even Tanjiro hated Muzan for what he did to his family, but Tanjiro's calm demeanor had never been clouded by rage. This purity of spirit allows him to retain fragments of his humanity, even as he becomes a demon, similar to how Nezuko would later keep her human consciousness. However, Tanjiro's control is not immediate, and in the first few weeks after his transformation, he kills several people to suppress his demonic hunger. Over time, Tanjiro grows stronger as a demon, and develops better control over his hunger, eventually learning to survive on corpses, or by knocking humans unconscious and drinking small amounts of blood without causing permanent damage. Because Tanjiro already possessed the Demon Slayer mark, and had mastered sun-breathing as a human, he becomes an incredibly powerful demon with abilities that rival even the upper moons. Just like Kaigaku and Kokushibo, Tanjiro's blood demon art manifests similarly to his breathing style, giving him the ability to generate powerful flames that are as intense as the sun. Just like Nezuko's blood demon art, Tanjiro's techniques are especially effective against other demons, and have the unique property of cancelling out enemy blood demon arts if he's more powerful than the user. But now you might be wondering, does Tanjiro go back to his family? Unfortunately, while he retains his humanity, Tanjiro doesn't have access to the memories from when he was a human, so he's unable to return to the Kamado household. This means that after a couple of years, our timeline converges with the original story, as Muzan attacks Tanjiro's family, turning Nezuko into a demon and massacring everyone else. Tanjiro returns home to find his family slaughtered and Nezuko transformed into a demon, just like in the original timeline. And this is where Tanjiro regains his memories. Something about the death of his children and Nezuko's transformation triggers a demonic sixth sense, and he's drawn to the ruins of his home. Tanjiro initially gets the smell of a demon from his father and prepares to fight Tanjiro, but then a nagging familiarity makes him hold back. Tanjiro's voice, his mannerisms, and hints of his scent from when he was a human all confirm his identity to Tanjiro, despite his demonic appearance. When Giyu Tomioka arrives and prepares to kill Nezuko, Tanjiro reveals himself, creating an incredibly tense standoff. Giyu recognizes immediately that Tanjiro is no ordinary demon. On the one hand, his immense power makes Tanjiro a serious issue, but the fact that he spared his 2 children means that he isn't an immediate threat. Giyu is still suspicious, but he can't risk a serious fight with Tanjiro and Nezuko in the way, so he reluctantly agrees to bring the matter before Kaguya Ubuyashiki. This means that the Hashira meeting takes place much earlier, as sparing Tanjiro is a much more serious decision than letting Nezuko live. Kaguya's wisdom allows him to see the potential in having such a powerful demon as an ally, and he makes the controversial decision to allow Tanjiro to work with Tamayo, while Tanjiro trains to become a demon slayer. Tanjiro travels to meet Tamayo in Asakusa, and their meeting becomes one of the most important events in the fight against Muzan. Tamayo is initially suspicious, but when she examines Tanjiro and discovers his blood demon art, along with the fact that he independently escaped his demonic nature, she realizes his value as an ally. Tamayo begins researching Tanjiro's blood, and this leads to an accelerated version of the drug she developed through studying Nezuko. Meanwhile, Tanjiro trains under Urokodaki, and the story proceeds similarly to the original timeline, with Tanjiro passing final selection and beginning his missions with Zenitsu and Inosuke. Tanjiro's encounter with the swamp demon doesn't change, but since he knows about Tamayo at this point, Tanjiro ends up heading directly there when he's in Asakusa. This means Tanjiro never runs into Muzan and doesn't need to fight Susumaru and Yahaba either. After Tanjiro defeats Kyogai in the Tsuzumi mansion, the Demon Slayer Corps makes the unprecedented decision to let Tanjiro join his son on less important missions. Their first mission together is to investigate Mount Naragumo, where the Lower Moon 5 Rui runs his spider family. This is where Tanjiro awakens sun-breathing for the first time, and his father is shocked to see the Hinokami kagura being used to fight demons. When Rui recovers from the slash and counterattacks, Tanjiro is quick to stop him, and the father-son duo puts an end to the spider demon by the time Giyu and Shinobu arrive. The events of the Mugen Train arc also unfold differently, thanks to Tanjiro's presence, as his immunity to blood demon arts keeps him awake when Enmu attacks. Tanjiro has very little trouble destroying the demon's core within the train, but Akaza's appearance changes everything. Akaza is fascinated by Tanjiro. He too followed a principle of not attacking women, but a demon who refuses to eat humans and preserves his humanity is a shock to the Upper Moon 3. Despite his power, Tanjiro struggles against Akaza's martial arts mastery and regeneration, and the battle is destined for a stalemate. As dawn approaches, Akaza realizes he must retreat or face certain death, and he flees into the forest to report this development to Muzan. The Entertainment District arc proceeds with Tengen leading the mission, and this time Tanjiro follows the group to provide backup if needed. Once again, Tanjiro reveals himself when Gyutaro emerges, and his blood demon art combined with sun-breathing makes him a game-changer in this battle. But at this point, word of Tanjiro's existence has reached Muzan through Akaza, and following Gyutaro and Daki's deaths, the Demon King becomes obsessed with capturing this sun-breathing demon. The Swordsmith Village arc becomes a turning point, as Tanjiro takes the role Nezuko played in the original timeline, and holds off Hantengu's multiple forms. Tanjiro's blood demon art allows him to burn Hantengu's clones with flames that prevent their regeneration, allowing Tanjiro to hunt down the main body. They don't even need to wait until sunrise to take out the Upper Moon 4, and Muzan accelerates his plan to directly attack the Demon Slayers. Now, the Hashira training arc is where things get interesting, because in the original timeline, Tanjiro had no one to teach him about sun-breathing, but in our story, Tanjiro has already mastered the technique and can walk Tanjiro through the fine points of the style and work on refining it further. At this point, you might be wondering what Nezuko's role in this story is, and honestly, she never gets to shine because Tanjiro handles all the major threats without her having to get involved. Meanwhile, Tamayo's research with Tanjiro's blood yields incredible results, as she develops multiple drugs that will be crucial against Muzan. As Tamayo's research progresses, Kaguya approves a bold plan. Use Tanjiro as bait to lure Muzan into a trap at the Ubuyashiki mansion. This means that the children of the Ubuyashiki family don't need to be sacrificed to set up the ambush, and Kaguya, Tamayo, and Tanjiro work together to severely weaken Muzan. But just like in the original story, the Demon King has a trick up his sleeve. As the doors to the Infinity Castle open up beneath the Demon Slayer's feet, Tanjiro is separated from his son as the castle shifts, and he ends up facing off against his creator, Kokushibo. Kokushibo is filled with pride as he created a demon worthy of challenging the Upper Moon 1, and sees his fight as a chance to triumph over sun-breathing. The two demons clash with enough force to shake the Infinity Castle. It's moon-breathing versus sun-breathing in a battle of brothers' legacies. But Tanjiro cannot possibly match Kokushibo's centuries of experience, and he fights on the back foot until Muichiro, Gyomei, and Sanami arrive to assist. As Kokushibo dies, he recognizes that Tanjiro has achieved what he never could, surpassing the limits of his human body while keeping his humanity. The rest of the battles end in pretty much the same way, but the Demon Slayers are far stronger in the final battle, as Rengoku is still in their ranks, and Muichiro didn't die at Kokushibo's hands. The final battle against Muzan begins with the remaining Hashira, and Tanjiro stands together with his father against the Demon King. Thanks to the head start Tamayo got from meeting Tanjiro, her drugs work more effectively than anyone hoped, rapidly aging Muzan and severing his control over his power. Tanjiro becomes an absolute menace as the battle proceeds, using his body to shield the other Demon Slayers and hold Muzan in place. Tanjiro's regeneration prevents the Demon King from finishing him off for good, and as the sun rises, he sacrifices himself to hold the Demon King in place. But as Muzan burns, Tanjiro remains unharmed. Just like Nezuko, he's immune to the sun, and that protects him as he continues restraining the Demon King. With one final coordinated attack from all the Demon Slayers, Muzan is destroyed, and his body burns away in the morning light. So what did you think of this alternate timeline? Would Tanjiro's journey as a demon fighting for humanity be better than the original story? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.